I stood frozen in the kitchen, staring at Evan's open laptop on the counter. The screen glowed with a confirmation email I wasn't supposed to see. Flight booking confirmed. One way to Spain. Departure, March 15th. My eyes scanned the passenger names. Evan Pierce. Noah Pierce, age 7. Ava Pierce, age 5. No Lauren. My heart pounded, so hard I could feel it in my throat. From upstairs, Evan's voice drifted down, casual and calm, talking on the phone about logistics and finalizing arrangements. I gripped the edge of the counter to steady myself. My husband was planning to take our children out of the country. Without me. The realization hit like ice water. He's taking them without me. I closed the laptop carefully, my hands trembling. Everything looked normal in our kitchen. The kids' drawings on the fridge, the coffee maker I'd used that morning, the family calendar with soccer practice and dental appointments marked in my handwriting. But nothing was normal anymore. My name is Lauren Pierce, and this was the moment I realized my marriage was a lie. I didn't confront him. Not yet. Every instinct screamed to run upstairs and demand answers, but something stopped me. Some deeper survival instinct whispered, wait, watch, gather proof. That evening, I acted normal. I smiled when Evan came down for dinner. I asked about his day. I laughed at his jokes while our kids chattered about school. But every glance at him felt like looking at a stranger. Over the next few days, I started noticing things I'd been too trusting to see before. The hushed phone calls he took in the garage, the way he angled his phone away from me when texting, his sudden interest in international business opportunities he'd never mentioned. He'd always traveled for work, but now every trip felt suspicious. One afternoon while he was at the gym, I went back to his laptop. My fingers shook as I searched his files, feeling like a criminal in my own home. That's when I found it. A folder buried in his documents, labeled simply, Documents for Transfer. I clicked it open, my stomach twisting. Inside were scanned copies of passports. Evan's, Noah's, Ava's, and another one. A woman I'd never seen before. Name, Celia Moreau. French passport. Her photo showed a woman about my age, blonde hair, confident smile. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. When I could breathe again, I sat on the tile floor and let myself remember. Our wedding day. The way Evan had cried when Noah was born. Family vacations. The life I thought we built together. It had all been real to me. When had it stopped being real to him? I went back to the laptop and kept digging. Found emails between them. Plans. Promises. A whole life he'd been building with her while I packed school lunches and helped with homework. That night, Evan climbed into bed beside me like always. Kissed my forehead. Said goodnight. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. I saw the name flash across the screen before he grabbed it. Celia. He smiled at the message, typing a response while I lay 3 feet away, pretending to sleep. I became two people. The Lauren everyone saw, loving wife, devoted mother, always smiling. And the Lauren inside, documenting everything, building a case, preparing for war. I started recording timestamps of his suspicious calls. Screenshot every weird email I could access. I noted when he was gone, where he said he was going, whether it matched up. I created a secret email address he didn't know about and forwarded everything there. Evidence. Proof. Insurance. Playing the fool was exhausting. Pretending not to notice when he lied became a full-time job. Then I found the financial records. Our joint savings account, the one we built together over 10 years, was being slowly drained. Small transfers, carefully spaced out. $50,000 had disappeared over 6 months. I traced where it went. An overseas account. A bank in Barcelona. He wasn't just planning to leave. He was stealing our future to fund his escape. I took screenshots of every transaction, every transfer, every lie buried in numbers. Then I sent it all to my secret email and deleted my browser history. The lawyer's office was across town, somewhere Evan would never see my car. I told him I was having lunch with my sister. The attorney's name was Rebecca Walsh. She had kind eyes but a steel voice. Tell me everything, she said. I did. The flight, the passports, the money, Celia. All of it spilled out in a rush. Rebecca listened without interrupting, taking notes. When I finished, she set down her pen and looked at me directly. If he gets those children on a plane to Spain, you might never get them back. The words hit like a punch. What? International parental kidnapping. It happens more than you think. Once they're in another country, especially one with different custody laws, it becomes incredibly difficult. Sometimes impossible. My vision blurred. So what do? We file an emergency motion. Immediately. Custody, travel restrictions, asset freeze, everything. She paused. But I need to tell you something else. Your husband already filed for passport renewals for both children last month. I felt the room tilt. He what? He's been planning this for a while, Lauren. We need to move fast. That night, I cooked Evan's favorite meal. Pot roast, mashed potatoes, the works. I set the table nicely, lit candles, asked the kids to put away their tablets. What's the occasion? Evan asked, smiling as he sat down. No occasion. Just wanted a nice family dinner. We ate. The kids told stories about their day. Evan seemed relaxed, more present than he'd been in months. He even helped clear the table. I've got a business trip coming up, he mentioned casually over dessert. Might be gone a week or so. Oh, where to? Still finalizing details. Probably overseas. I watched him carefully. Anywhere specific? He shrugged. Maybe Spain. There's a great opportunity there. My heart pounded, but I kept my voice light. Spain sounds lovely. When were you thinking? Mid-March, probably. I set down my fork slowly. You've already bought the tickets, haven't you? The color drained from his face. For just a second, his mask slipped. What? The flights. To Spain. Leaving March 15th. He froze completely. The explosion came fast. Evan stood up, so quickly his chair fell backward. Have you been going through my things? You're taking our children out of the country without telling me. You're paranoid. I was going to surprise you. It was supposed to be a family trip. Then why isn't my name on the ticket? He stammered, grasping for an excuse. I was booking yours separately. Different airline. Better points. I stood up, my voice deadly calm. Stop lying to me. This is insane. You're being crazy. Gaslighting me won't work anymore, Evan. I know about Celia. I know about the money. I know everything. His face went from red to white. The kids had gone quiet, watching us with wide, frightened eyes. I walked to the stairs, then turned back. You just gave me everything I need. I went to our bedroom, locked the door, and emailed Rebecca everything I'd found, including recordings of tonight's conversation I'd made on my phone. The war had started. Rebecca moved fast. Within 48 hours, we had drafted an emergency motion. Temporary custody. Asset freeze. A court order preventing either parent from taking the children out of state without written permission. The hearing is in 3 days, Rebecca told me over the phone. But timing is crucial. If he suspects you filed, he might accelerate his plans. What do I do? Act normal. Don't let him know. That was easier said than done. Evan was watching me now, suspicious and cold. The pretense of our happy marriage had shattered. Then he did something that terrified me. He took a week off work, claiming he needed to plan a getaway for the family. Where? I asked, trying to sound casual. It's a surprise, he said, that charming smile back on his face. But his eyes were calculating. I called Rebecca immediately. He's moving up his timeline. Don't panic. We're ready. Just keep the kids close. I woke up at 7 a.m. to silence. Wrong silence. The kind that made my skin crawl. I ran to Noah's room. Empty. Ava's room. Empty. Evan. I called, racing downstairs. No answer. His car was gone. Their phones were off. No note. Nothing. Panic consumed me. I called schools. They hadn't checked in. Called his mother. She hadn't heard from him. Called friends. Nothing. I was reaching for my phone to call the police when the front door opened. Evan walked in with Noah and Ava, both carrying ice cream cones, laughing. Where were you? My voice shook. Took the kids for a fun morning. Pancakes and a day trip. Relax, Lauren. But his smile didn't reach his eyes. This was a test. A warning. That afternoon, while Evan was outside with the kids, I checked the drawer where we kept important documents. The passports were gone. All 3 of them. We need to file now, Rebecca said urgently when I called her. But the hearing isn't until tomorrow. We're filing an emergency petition today. This is escalating. But I wanted more. I needed something that would destroy any sympathy a judge might have for him. That's when I made a decision that felt crazy but necessary. I bought a small GPS tracker online, the kind people use for luggage. When Evan wasn't looking, I attached it magnetically under his car. What are you doing? Rebecca asked when I told her. Getting proof. 2 hours later, the tracker pinged. Evan's car was at the airport. My hand started shaking, so badly I could barely hold my phone. I'm going there, I told Rebecca. Lauren, wait. But I was already grabbing my keys. I spotted his car in short-term parking. My heart hammered as I walked into the terminal, scanning the crowds. There, by the international check-in counter. Evan. Alone. No kids. He was talking to someone. A blonde woman. Celia. I pulled out my phone and started taking photos. Him smiling at her. Her touching his arm. Him kissing her forehead. They looked like a couple. They looked happy. Rage and heartbreak warred inside me. This was the man I trusted with my life, my children, my future. I took a step closer, my phone still recording. That's when Evan looked up. Our eyes locked across the terminal. His face went pale, then red, then hard. He started walking toward me, fury in every step. What are you doing here? He hissed when he reached me, grabbing my arm. I yanked free. I could ask you the same thing. Meeting your girlfriend at the airport while our kids are at home. This is business. Stop. Lying. Celia approached, looking uncomfortable. Up close, I could see she was younger than her passport photo suggested, and around her neck was a pendant I recognized. My anniversary necklace, the one Evan had given me 3 years ago. Is that mine? I asked, my voice breaking. She touched it, confused. Evan gave it to me. He gave it to me first. I looked at Evan. You stole my jewelry for her. People were staring. Security started moving toward us. Evan leaned close, his voice low and venomous. You'll regret this, Lauren. I met his gaze steadily. Not as much as you will. Security intervened, asking if there was a problem. Celia backed away, suddenly looking uncertain. I turned and walked out, still recording everything. Rebecca filed the emergency motion that night. By morning, the court had fast-tracked it for immediate review. Within 24 hours, I had temporary custody. Evan's access to our joint accounts was frozen. A restraining order prevented him from taking the children more than 20 miles from home without my written permission. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. Lauren Pierce. A woman's voice. French accent. Yes. This is Celia Moreau. We need to talk. My grip tightened on the phone. I have nothing to say to you. Please. Listen. You don't know what he's capable of. Her voice was shaking. He told me you were separated, that you'd abandoned the children. I didn't know. I didn't know any of it was lies. Why are you calling me? Because I just found out he's been using my money too. And I think he's dangerous. I sat down slowly. What do you mean? Meet me. Tomorrow. I have documents you need to see. Celia brought a folder thick with papers. Bank statements. Emails. Contracts. He told me we were starting a business in Spain, she said quietly. I invested everything. 200,000 euros. She showed me forged documents with my signature. Property transfer papers I'd never seen. Evan had been selling our house without my knowledge. How did you get these? I asked. I hired a lawyer when I started getting suspicious. They found all of this. She pushed the folder toward me. I'm leaving the country. Going home to France. But you deserve to know what he was planning. I looked through the documents. My hands shook. He'd forged my digital signature on multiple legal documents. He was going to liquidate everything. Our home, our savings, our entire life, and disappear. Why are you helping me? She met my eyes. Because he told me you were a terrible mother. That you didn't love your children. But I saw your face at the airport, and I realized he lied about everything. I took the folder to Rebecca immediately. The next day, the court granted a full temporary custody order in my favor. Evan showed up at the house that evening, pounding on the door. Let me see my kids. I opened the door but stood in the doorway, blocking his entry. You have supervised visitation on Saturdays. As per the court order. This is my house. Actually, according to the restraining order, you can't be here. His face contorted with rage. Gone was the charming man I'd married. This person was a stranger. You ruined my life, he screamed. You destroyed everything. I stayed calm, my phone recording in my pocket. You did that yourself, Evan. He tried to push past me. I didn't move. The police are on their way, I said quietly. You're violating a court order. Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Evan's face went pale. He backed away, pointing at me. This isn't over. Yes, I said. It is. 2 police cars pulled up. Officers escorted him away from the property, while my children watched from the upstairs window safe. The courtroom was cold and formal. Evan sat across from me with his lawyer, a sharp-suited man who immediately began painting me as unstable and vindictive. Mrs. Pierce has been erratic, Your Honor. Paranoid. She's making wild accusations to punish my client for wanting a divorce. I sat silently, hands folded, while Rebecca took notes. When it was our turn, Rebecca stood calmly. Your Honor, we have extensive documentation of Mr. Pierce's plans. She presented everything. The flight itineraries, the passport applications, the financial records showing systematic theft, the forged documents. Evan's lawyer tried to object, but the evidence was overwhelming. The judge, a gray-haired woman with stern eyes, reviewed each document carefully. Mr. Pierce, she said finally, can you explain these transfers to an overseas account? He stammered. That was for business purposes, and the one-way flights to Spain. A misunderstanding. The forged signatures on property documents. Silence. The judge's expression hardened. I'm ordering a full investigation into your financial activities, Mr. Pierce. 3 days later, I received an email from Celia. I'm sorry for my part in this. He used me like he used you. I'm sending you everything I have. Bank records, recordings, everything. He deserves to face what he's done. Attached were dozens of files. Audio recordings of Evan discussing how to hide assets. Emails about setting up shell companies. Evidence of international fraud. I forwarded it all to Rebecca, who immediately requested an emergency court session. The judge reviewed the new evidence with growing concern. Mr. Pierce, these documents suggest significant financial crimes. I'm ordering you to appear before this court tomorrow morning for a special hearing. Evan's lawyer looked shaken. Your Honor, we need time to review. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. Be here. That night, Rebecca called me. Lauren, this is bigger than we thought. The district attorney's office is getting involved. What does that mean? It means he's facing criminal charges. Not just divorce court. Actual fraud charges. I sat down slowly, the weight of it sinking in. The courtroom was packed the next morning. Evan sat rigid, his lawyer whispering urgently. Rebecca presented the evidence methodically. Offshore accounts in 3 countries. Forged documents. Wire fraud. Attempted parental kidnapping. The room fell silent as she played audio recordings. Evan's voice, planning how to disappear with the children. How to make Lauren look unstable so she won't get custody. I watched his face drain of color as his own words condemned him. The judge's expression was ice. Mr. Pierce, I'm suspending all your parental rights pending full investigation. I'm also issuing a warrant for your arrest on charges of fraud and attempted child abduction. Evan stood up, panicked. Your Honor, this is... 2 officers moved forward. Evan Pierce, you're under arrest. They let him out in handcuffs while cameras flashed. I sat very still, watching the man I'd once loved be taken away. The news spread fast. By that evening, Evan's face was on local news websites. Local businessman arrested for fraud, attempted child abduction. His company suspended him immediately, pending investigation. Celia deleted all her social media and vanished back to France. I sat in my quiet house that night, kids finally asleep, and let myself feel everything I'd been holding back. Relief, grief, anger, sadness for the life I thought we'd have, but also strength, pride that I fought back, protected my children. I was cleaning out Evan's home office when I found it, a flash drive taped under his desk drawer labeled Plan B in his handwriting. My hands shook as I plugged it into my laptop. The flash drive contained dozens of video files. I clicked on the first one. Evan's face filled the screen. Behind him, our living room. Day 47 of documenting Lauren's erratic behavior, his voice said. She's become increasingly paranoid, accusing me of things that aren't true. I'm worried about the children's safety around her. I clicked through more videos. All of them showed carefully edited clips. Me looking tired after sleepless nights with sick kids, snapping at him when he forgot important appointments, crying after a hard day. He'd been building a case against me, recording me without my knowledge, editing footage to make me look unstable. His plan B, if I discovered his escape plan, destroy my credibility so thoroughly that no court would give me custody. I called Rebecca immediately. You need to see this. Within hours, she'd sent it to the prosecutors. This shows premeditation, Rebecca explained. He wasn't just planning to leave. He was systematically building a false narrative to discredit you. The next day, someone leaked the footage to the media. Public opinion turned against Evan completely. The final custody hearing was almost anticlimactic. With Evan facing criminal charges and mountains of evidence against him, the judge awarded me full legal and physical custody. When I picked up Noah and Ava from school that afternoon and told them, they both cried with relief. We don't have to go away, Noah asked, his 7-year-old voice trembling. No, baby, we're staying right here. Safe. Ava climbed into my lap. I was scared, Mommy. I held them both, my heart breaking and healing at the same time. That evening, an envelope arrived by courier. No return address. Inside was a handwritten letter on expensive stationery. Lauren, I'm back in France. I wanted you to know, I'm testifying against Evan. He used both of us. But I also want to warn you, he'll try to make you bitter. To turn you into someone like him. Don't let him. Your children need you whole. Thank you for opening my eyes. Celia. I read it twice, then folded it carefully. For weeks, I processed everything quietly. Therapy, journaling, long talks with my sister, slowly rebuilding a life that felt like mine. Then one night, I made a decision. I wrote out my entire story, not for revenge, but because I realized other women might be living my nightmare right now, not knowing how to escape. I posted it on a blog I'd created anonymously. The title, How I Saved My Children from International Abduction. I detailed everything. The warning signs I'd missed, the steps I'd taken, the resources that helped me. Within 48 hours, it had been shared 20,000 times. Within a week, it had gone viral. Messages poured in. Women thanking me, sharing their own stories, asking for advice. A national news program contacted me. We'd like you to come on and tell your story. Help other mothers. I hesitated. Going public meant no more anonymity. But it also meant helping people. I'll do it, I said. The television studio was bright and intimidating. But when the host asked me to share my story, the words came easily. I talked about the warning signs, the importance of documentation, the legal resources available. What would you tell other women in similar situations? The host asked. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, investigate. And most importantly, you're not crazy. You're not paranoid. If you're seeing red flags, there's usually fire. The interview aired on a Friday night. By Monday, it had been viewed 3 million times online. Lawyers, advocacy groups, and survivors reached out. I started getting invited to speak at conferences, to help draft legislation protecting children in international custody disputes. Meanwhile, Evan's criminal trial proceeded. The evidence was overwhelming. He pleaded guilty to fraud and attempted parental kidnapping in exchange for a reduced sentence. 5 years in federal prison. All parental rights terminated. I watched the verdict on the news from my living room, my children playing in the next room. I felt nothing. No triumph, no anger. Just peace. Evan's assets were seized to pay restitution. His name became synonymous with fraud and betrayal, trending on social media for weeks. I never gloated, never celebrated his downfall. I simply moved forward. One afternoon, I sat at my kitchen table, the same table where I'd first discovered his betrayal, and opened my laptop. I'd received hundreds of requests from women asking for help navigating similar situations. I couldn't answer them all alone, so I started a nonprofit, helping mothers escape abusive relationships, protect their children, navigate custody battles. The first donation came from an anonymous account in France. 50,000 euros. I smiled, knowing who it was from. I closed my laptop and walked to the window. In the backyard, Noah and Ava were playing, their laughter floating through the open window. The afternoon sun painted everything gold. For the first time in years, I felt truly free. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. But this wasn't revenge. It was reclamation. I'd taken back my life, my children, my future. Everything Evan had tried to steal, I'd fought for and won. My nonprofit was thriving. We'd already helped 18 families navigate emergency custody situations, prevented 4 international abductions, saved countless children from being torn from their homes. I thought about who I'd been a year ago, the woman frozen in shock, staring at flight itineraries. She felt like a different person. That woman had been broken by betrayal. This woman had been forged by it. Noah ran up to me, grass-stained and grinning. "Mom, watch me do a cartwheel." I sat on the porch steps, warm sun on my face, and watched my children play. Safe. Happy. Home. He tried to take my children. He tried to steal our future. He tried to destroy me. But in the end, I took back my life and built something better than anything he could have given me. Sunlight poured through the trees, catching Ava's hair as she spun in circles, arms wide, laughing. This was what victory looked like. Not destruction. Transformation.